Welcome back to another video on the channel. Naomi Osaka is the 2021 Women's Australian Open champion after defeating Jennifer Brady in straight sets. That's now Osaka's fourth Grand Slam title, and she becomes the first person since Monica Seles to win her first four Grand Slam finals. A fantastic feat, and Osaka seems to be a player that's just getting better and better all the time, and the sky is the absolute limit for her. Jennifer Brady's had a fantastic run to this final, a brilliant tournament again. She's done very well at the US Open, and I think Brady's a player that can continue to fight and get to these semi-finals and finals, particularly on the hard courts. I think she competed very well against Osaka today in spells, but overall just wasn't consistent enough. And I think people underestimate and forget about the experience that Osaka's got now in finals. She hasn't just got the experience of reaching finals, she's got the experience of winning, and that's so important. She's beaten players like Serena Williams in US Open finals, but she's about as big as it gets. So I think Osaka was the more relaxed player throughout, more consistent, and found the big players when she needed them the most, which was what separated the two players. So I'm just going to quickly look back on the match. I think Osaka started very quickly. I talked about the importance of increasing her first serve percentage, and in the first game she served two aces, and I think that was just a sign and a bit of a statement that Osaka that she'd arrived, she was ready to win, she was focused, and she had all that championship experience, knowing the importance of winning that opening set and starting off the final on the right terms and winning the opening couple of service games. Osaka got an early break against Brady with fantastic returning. We know how well Osaka's returned over the past couple of weeks, particularly on the backhand side. I think there was a few early nerves from Brady. She served a couple of opening double faults, and at that point I felt Osaka could potentially run away with the match. But Brady, to her credit, she found her feet in the match. She warmed into it. She found that deep, aggressive forehand that's brought her so much success over this past couple of weeks in the Grand Slam. And she brought errors from Osaka, and at times Osaka's game did unravel a little bit, as it has done throughout this tournament. Osaka's serve started to drop off, and Brady took huge advantage of that. She started to open up on forehand and backhand with confidence and believe that she could win. And that first set turned into a real battle at 4-4. The crowd started to support Brady. I think, the underdog, and wanted to make it competitive and take a set of Osaka. And Osaka couldn't find the first serve, but I think she adapted well to that by extending the rallies and backing herself from the baseline. But Brady, to her credit, wasn't frightened of Osaka's power. She was happy to have a ground stroke battle, and she hit as many clean winners of her side as Osaka did. So I don't think that was too much of an issue for Brady. The fact that Osaka hits the ball so hard, I think Brady redirected play pretty well and defended well throughout the match. I think Brady's final came to an end when she switched off completely at 40-15. I think Osaka did get a lucky point to get the set point, but it was a time in that match where you have to find your best form, and she just played a couple of loose points, and Osaka really capitalised to steal the opening set 6-4. I think at that point the opening set was really on a knife edge, and if anybody, I think Brady was probably playing the better tennis and had the ascendancy. But as I say, she just played a couple of poor points from 40-15 and gifted the opening set to Osaka, and that's just something you can't do in a Grand Slam final. But it is her first Grand Slam final for Jennifer Brady. It's something that she'll learn from with experience like this. But Osaka opened up a very comfortable lead in the second set. She was 4-love up in a matter of minutes, just returning and serving and really running towards the line. She sensed her opportunity to win a fourth Grand Slam title, and she grabbed it with both hands. She played her best tennis of the whole match in that start of that second set, and as I say, grabbed a double break, and the match seemed to be over. But to her credit again, Jennifer Brady, she fought back with great defence and big ground strokes, and it was only for Osaka to find the big serve when she needed it most, going for shots of her own. And in the end, she ran out a comfortable winner, 6-2 in that second set. No, 6-3, sorry, in that second set. So as I predicted, I fancied Osaka from the very start of this tournament. I think she's nigh and unbeatable on a hard court. I think Jennifer Brady's had a fantastic run, which I also expected. But looking ahead for Jennifer Brady, as I mentioned, I think she's certainly got the game to beat pretty much anybody on a hard court, particularly playing this quick. She's shown that at the Cincinnati last year in the US Open. She's shown that again at the Australian Open this year. She's found that consistency now. She backs herself in big matches with the serve and the forehand and the backhand that she's got. She does possess real power, and I think for Brady it's about having that consistency and probably perform a little bit better in the clutch moments. that 40-15 at 4-5, she has to hold serve there and put the pressure back on Osaka. But I think, as I mentioned at the very start of the video, people underestimate the experience and the play that Osaka does when she needs it most, and that was probably the difference today in this match. And now looking for Osaka, how far can she go is the big question. I think she'll probably be world number one by the end of the year. I think it's undoubted that she's the best player in the world at the moment, especially on a hard court. She looks pretty much invincible. Done the double now of winning the Australian Open, US Open back to back, which is a fantastic achievement. And Osaka's a player that, I think she'll just focus tournament by tournament. She seems to expect to come to these tournaments now, win. It just talked about her recently that she just wants to get to 5 and then 10, then 15. But I think, a 23-year-old, she's got that championship experience. She's won all 4 of her finals. She's got that ruthless, relentless tennis, particularly on a hard court. And I think the sky is the limit for Osaka. And as I mentioned in my final preview, I think if she stays fit, consistent, and keeps loving the game and wants to thrive for success and to achieve and break records, then I think Osaka can win 10 plus Grand Slams and do whatever she wants in the sport. I think in terms of improvements, I think her overall movement could slightly be better. Her feet a little bit quicker and get herself in position for shots a little bit better at times. And I think the obvious one has to be to better her results on clay and on the grass court as well. She's dominated the hard court over the past few years, but I think to become a real great and be put in the same category as the likes of Serena Williams and Venus Williams over the next however many years that she plays, I think she has to adapt and become a better clay court and grass court player and get some big results and win some events on those surfaces before she can get put into that category. But if you're just looking at this start, it's a perfect start of the year for Naomi Osaka, and I don't even think she's played by any means the best tennis in this tournament. I think she's produced some brilliant tennis that's been unstoppable when she's needed the most, particularly looking at the back end of that Muguruza match. And today in the clutch moments, I thought she served very well and she went big and hit the lines. But overall, I don't think she's played the best tennis at this tournament, yet she still won it pretty comfortably, which shows you that the level she's playing at and the ability to produce the best in the biggest moments, which separates her from the rest. But yeah, I think it's been another great tournament for women's tennis, another fantastic advert for women's sport and tennis. We've had some brilliant classic matches. And yeah, Naomi Osaka rules the hard courts again. So we move on to tomorrow's final now. Novak Djokovic against Daniil Medvedev is a final that I can't wait for. If you do want to watch my men's final preview and prediction video, it is already on the channel. But thank you to any new subscribers. I've had quite a few over the last few days, which is much appreciated. Leave your comments in this section below of what you thought of the final and your predictions ahead of Djokovic Medvedev tomorrow. And I will see you on the next video.